Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode we'll continue our Opel story with the Opel Manta. Hello and welcome back to Quartzlight, and if you're new to Quartzlight, please consider subscribing. We look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you think that might interest you, watch a bit of the video, consider subscribing. It does help the channel greatly. Now today we're continuing this story of the Opel range for 1980. Last week we looked at the Ascona. Today is the turn of the Opel Manta, and by this time, the 1980, it'll be the Opel Manta B. So let's have a look at that now. So here we go, the Opel Manta. Weirdly in this brochure, every other model in this range has kind of like got the name down the bottom here somewhere. Kind of like, I think they forgot to actually put the word Manta on this page for whatever reason. Like I said, this is the Manta B. The Manta B arrived around about 1975, ran until 1988, although there was a little bit of a facelift, what I would call the Manta B2, I guess, around about 82. And I think I actually preferred the sort of facelift of this with the sort of skirts, and I always liked the GTE versions. This is 1980, but still an interesting car. And a car I always liked the design. I did own a Capri in the early 90s, and I always looked at these and thought I actually prefer the design of these, although I never actually owned a Manta B. People I've kind of like talked to, they always said the Capri was built a little bit better build quality than the Manta, although I can't confirm or deny that. Having said that, the Capri I owned, I was never a huge fan actually. I had that for a couple of years. I didn't think it was anything really that special. Now look at people with Capris and they go crazy for Capris, but like I say, I was never a huge fan. Maybe this might have suited me more, I don't know. But anyway, comments what you think anyway. Good or bad about the Manta, good or bad about the Capri. I just like all comments on cars. They're interested how different people think about them. There was two models at this time, so the booted version as well as the hatch. I think the hatch came around about 77 or so, so we've got two models to choose from now. The hatch was slightly more expensive, but not by much, maybe like, I think it was less than £200 difference between the two at this time. So not much to choose from, so if you was buying it new, it would really be a case of which one you preferred. Obviously the hatch a little bit more practical, I guess. The coupe possibly a little bit more stylish at the back, featuring nice headlight wipers, which we'll certainly have a look at the moment. Now in this brochure at this time, 1980, it's only showing one trim level. The Berlinetta is the only one it's showing on here, although interestingly there's also an SR badge on there as well, which we'll have a look at. But anyway, let's zoom in on some of these pictures and then we might read some of this text. Zoomed in at the front end now to kind of like show those wipers. Unusually parked though, aren't they? I guess if they parked them flat they would be actually off the headlight themselves, so they have actually stood them up like that. I don't know if it affects the lighting, I'm not sure. V registration, this one, the seems to be JBH, seems to be the plates used here. I'm not sure if that car is still on the road or not. Still nice alloy wheels though, aren't they? Quite like the alloy wheels on these Mantas. We've also got a Berlinetta badge there. I don't know if we can kind of like make that out or not. Difficult to see really, isn't it? You can't quite make it out, but that does say Berlinetta. And obviously the big difference is on these coupes with that sort of quite a stylish, I think, rear end. Black bumpers we'll note here. The later B2s that came out after 82, which I prefer, had the colour coordinated bumpers and a bit of a sort of like a skirt around it as well, which I think quite suited it. Moving up to the hatchback here, there is that Berlinetta badge again, those alloy wheels, and obviously the difference is all at the back. with that very practical hatchback. Again, V registrations, JBH number plate. Unusually positioned fog light, but I remember them all like this at this time, kind of like tacked on as a bit of an afterthought. Very long exhaust because we've got this sort of like chrome tip. The exhaust doesn't look brand new, so I presume this car has put a few miles on while it's been probably test drove and photographed for this brochure. If we zoom in though, we can see the Opel Manta badge. I don't know if you can make it out or not, but just at the end there is the SR badge. Now I don't know if all these Berlinettas were badged SR as well, or was it just a case you got the SR badge when you received what you call an SR handling pack. SR handling pack was something you could buy as an optional extra on these Berlinettas. Interior does look very sporty. I think I like this sort of like pale, sort of yellowy interior trim. It looks quite nice, and you know, like I say, quite a sporty look with that sporty steering wheel. The side-on shot of this coupe, although it's even a little bit blurry on the picture. I guess it's a sort of a moving shot of that particular one. I do like that colour though. It does remind me of the 70s, and I think it does sort of really suit the car, this sort of like an orangey shade. We also get a lovely interior shot of the hatch, again on a V plate, 900V. Is it still around? I kind of like zoomed in on this one a little bit more because what an amazing interior, how red that is. I don't know if it's been touched up a bit for the photograph because it almost looks too red, particularly if you look at those front seats, or the at least the passenger side seat. It almost looks too red, so I don't know if it's been touched up a bit, but what an amazing interior. I don't know how easy it would be to keep that rear boot as clean as that. Obviously a high sill, so a little bit struggle to get things into that boot area. And a better look at that JBH V registration UK plate. At the side here we've got another, I think it does look very striking in that red again. Once again, I don't know if that red's been touched up a bit because it looks so incredibly red. Obviously if they're driving these around, I would imagine they probably got a little bit dirty and they've kind of like touched it up, would be my guess, because particularly near the pedals there it looks too red. This one's actually the optional automatic. You can see the two pedals. Very basic inside though. I mean, we can see things like a rev counter, but no radio seen here, just a clock. And down the bottom here, another little bit of a look at that wiper at that unusual angle on the hatchback version. Okay, so let's move on to the text. It says, if you like a sports car but you need family car space, here's the classic solution, the Opel Manta. Despite its thoroughbred looks and exhilarating performance, it's a practical 4-seater with high levels of comfort, economy and reliability. Whether you opt for the sleek elegance of the Berlinetta Coupe or the versatility of the Berlinetta hatch with its big tailgate and fold down rear seats, you'll enjoy 2-litre performance and taut, safe handling. Keen drivers will appreciate the wide alloy wheels shod with low profile radial tyres, the full instrumentation and the headlamp wash wipe system, and discerning passengers will notice the smooth, well controlled ride and lavishly equipped interior with rich velour upholstery, deep cut pile carpeting and bronze tinted glass. What's more, both Mantas have that well put together feel that's so typically Opel and stands for long life and high resale value. And you can make your Manta even more special with such options as automatic transmission, an SR handling pack, steel sunroof and metallic paint. Try a Manta and find out what you're missing, or what you've been missing I should say. Okay, so price list time. The top one here is the hatchback. Interestingly, like I say, there was only the Berlinetta in the coupe or the hatchback, but if you look at the codes, It is saying SRB, SR Berlinetta maybe, so maybe it was called the SR Berlinetta. I'm not sure if you always got the SR badge on there or not. 2 litres, price £6,129.50 for the hatch. A little bit cheaper for the coupe at £5,987.48. Automatic transmission, another £465 and change. SR chassis pack was very cheap actually, surely was worth getting at only £64.78. Even cheaper than black paint. Black paint was £121. In fact, black paint was more expensive than metallic paint at £673.51. Specifications for the Manta: 55 is denoting the hatch, 59 is denoting the coupe. So what's it telling us? It's pretty hard to get the whole thing in the shot at the same time, but let's see what we can do. I can see Ascona and Cadet we've looked at already. So Manta's going to be on the far right hand side. Like it's a bit difficult to get it all in one shot, but we shall manage. So it's telling us the sport steering wheel is standard on both models, as are light metal wheels or alloy wheels. Manual transmission with a sport shift is standard, and a rev counter is standard as well. It's only showing the option there of that SR chassis pack. Going down to luxury, we can have an automatic 3-speed transmission as an option, metallic paint as an option, a vinyl roof cover as an option, but that's just available on the coupe. Below that, headlamp wash wipe is standard. We've also got on the rear window wash wipe, which is only standard obviously on that hatchback. Moving down the list to comfort, so we get an electric clock, a cigarette lighter. Actually, I'm not quite all the way there, that's a bit better, although both are the same for these ones. A cigarette lighter, manual sunroof is an option, removable headrests we get, tinted glass we get, laminated windscreen we get as well. So there we go, that is the Opel Manta. Next week it's the Opel Record. Going back to the Manta though, what do you think? Interesting question. Which is the better car to get at the time, the Capri or the Manta? Jot that down in the comments. Always interesting to see different people's opinions. But thank you so much for watching Course Light today. Please do like and subscribe. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.